Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstrow of Oshkosh Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Joining us on your City Manager's Report right here on GovTV, your source for all of the most current things going on in our city of Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda highlights. I'm your host, Emily Springstrow, joined as always by our co-host, City Manager Mark Roloff. Thanks for joining us today, Mark.
Great to be here, Emily.
It's great to have you. We're going to go ahead and dive into the first half topics, the hot topics of the day. For today's show, take a little break, and then we're going to return with a review of the council meeting agenda for Tuesday, February 13th, 2018. So, first item that we want to talk about, Mark, and this is kind of an interesting update because it's definitely not the time of the year for this, but there was a swarm of lake flies that was delivered to Oshkosh last week.
Yeah, the lake flies have arrived, but fortunately they're not, we don't have to swat them away right now.
Not just yet, no. But it's a really cool community art project. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what they are?
Well, this started a few years ago when the council members had gone to the League of Wisconsin Municipalities Conference and saw how some communities were doing things to basically get citizen engagement, citizen interest in community pride. And even though we've typically made fun of the lake flies because they are kind of a nuisance, they do have a big part of our ecosystem, and instead of trashing them, we try to celebrate them. And there's a public art project that the mayor has spearheaded. We got a $3,000 grant from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities program that looks for innovative programs. And this could be public art. We're getting local artists to doctor up the lake fly, similar to what was done with the lions a few years back and the nutcrackers as well. Just a different spin on it. And so you got to learn to love the lake fly, everybody, as I do. But it's a public art project. Actually, we've got enough artists lined up, but we're still looking for a few more sponsors. We need about 7 more sponsors, and we have 20 lake flies in total. But it's just public art talking about what the lake fly contributes to our ecosystem. And if you're interested, Alexa in community development is kind of taking applications and interest. So contact Alexa over at in our planning office. I believe it's 236-5126 is Alexa's number. And
they have, they're on Facebook too. If you look at the Community Development Department's Facebook page, they're always posting updates about the lake flies too with more information. And of course, like Mark said, contact Alexa for more information on that too. Moving on, we have a very important park advisory meeting coming up on February 12th. And they're going to be discussing the balance of the Lakeshore site acreage that remains after the sale of the other area to Oshkosh Corporation. So tell us a little bit about this discussion, Mark, how it's been going so far.
The whole process, obviously, there was a lot of public discourse over this issue, and I'm probably putting it nicely, but obviously a lot of people chimed in. There's still a lot of folks who were big supporters of Lakeshore Golf Course feel that at least we should try to get a 9-hole, a smaller golf course. Some people call it executive style, but really it's a 9-hole golf course. So the idea is for the Parks Board to provide some input to council. The reason we're doing this now isn't that we want to necessarily develop it, but if a decision is made to stay with a golf course for the remainder of the site, we have to maintain it like a golf course even through the construction, and it's quite possible that the golf course will be closed 2 or 3 seasons until such time as we could do that. At the same time, if there's a decision made to just proceed with a community park with other uses, that takes us in a different direction. So we want to know which one the public is leaning towards. So the Parks Board will be taking up that issue and making a recommendation to council, and that's going to be on Monday, February 12th at 6 p.m. in room 404. It's the regular Parks Board meeting, so please show up and provide your input. But if you can't attend because you're busy or something, our service that we've latched onto, it's called Palco. It's a citizen engagement software, and you can answer that question right on the Palco survey. You just give your email address, sign up. Your identity will never be revealed to us. Palco keeps all that information. But the whole idea is you sign up through our website or download the app at the App Store. And then once you sign in, and you'll be able to answer this and any other question that we might do through this process. We felt this was a good one because we knew there were a lot of opinions out there. And so far the turnout's been really good, and we want to keep encouraging that. So we have the one about the golf course, and then we also ask you how we're doing on snow and ice removal. And yeah, I'm willing to take my lumps on that. That's part of the winter season. But it's appropriate. Yeah, that must have been me. I wrote very satisfied. No, but we do want your input on all these issues. They are extremely important. And so anything you can do to give us information, we're going to be using it. And some of the best feedback I've gotten has not been about that topic individually, but it's like, thanks for asking. And really that's what this is about, giving the public an opportunity to chime in on an issue. And they may not necessarily be in the majority on one opinion, but that's not the point. The point is give you a chance to chime in and let us know how you feel about it. So go to the Palco site or go to our website or download the app.
Definitely. And like you said, the last day of voting is February 11th, that's Sunday, and the Parks Director will be giving an update on the results of the Palco survey as well, in addition to the other public input that they've collected thus far. And then once more, the public is highly encouraged to attend, if you can, to give input at this meeting too. So looking forward to that. We will be broadcasting that on Oshkosh Media. Just check our website for the air times on that too. Moving down, we've got the school superintendent search is on, and they've got a few candidates, and they're going to be doing some meet and greets.
Right. You know, the city and the school district are two separate entities, but obviously this is something that is very important for the whole community. So we certainly want to let people know, and they're going to be interviewing. I think they're probably semi-finalists at this point, but I believe there's 6 or 7 individuals that they're going to be just basically introducing the public to over at Perry Tippler Middle School on Tuesday and Wednesday, February 20th and 21st, 5:15 to 6:15 p.m. Get you a chance to meet these folks and see what makes them tick and see what vision they have for our community. Is this something that type of person you're looking for? And it's great that, again, citizen engagement, the school district, school board recognizes that we've had a very great engaged superintendent with Stan Mack, and they want to see how this person performs in the engagement in the world of citizen contact and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to it, and I plan to participate, so I encourage other people to as well.
Yes, and once again, more information, they've got that all on their website with the dates, times, locations, and everything, and we look forward to meeting the finalists and seeing who will be leading the school district next. Coming up really soon, actually, March 19th, Monday, 6 o'clock p.m. Mark your calendars. State of the City is approaching, and Mark, you and I are in the thick of planning for that right now.
We sure are, and you know, we do a lot of things beforehand to get people to give us ideas, and the tentative theme right now is what's next for Oshkosh. We had a very busy 2017, and that's great, but you don't want to rest on your laurels, so what's next? And that's kind of the theme, and we're going to be, you'll be seeing us out there. I know Emily and other folks from Oshkosh Media are out there getting input. So if you see them, don't avoid them. Just go on over and talk to them and give us your 2 cents worth and tell us what you think about what's going on. And we'll do that at State of the City. You know, another plug for the Palco citizen engagement. My goal is to have everybody there with a phone to be signed up for Palco so that they're engaged in participating in these. My goal is really to get at least 2,000 people signed up for this, and we're already more than halfway there. So I'm really encouraged. So we are always doing something different at State of the City to just kind of keep things interesting. And March 19th is the day, so look for it and hope to see everybody at the convention center.
Yes, and it's also a great opportunity to meet with city departments and hear about new projects, things going on. The expo is such a big part of the State of the City. And like Mark said, one more plug, if you have an opinion or some kind of input that you'd like to give for the presentation, just reach out to me here at Oshkosh Media, and I'd love to set up an interview with you. Moving down now, it is that time of the show. We're just about halfway, and viewers have the chance to ask their city manager anything they like that he can answer their question here on the show. So that's right, it's question mark. Let's take a look and see what the question is this week. All right, Mark, great question this week is, what is this I hear about a lead service reimbursement program?
The council has approved a program to essentially encourage people and provide some incentive for them to get rid of their lead service. That's the part from your property line into your house. Normally we don't participate in those things. That's usually left up to the individual property owner, and it still is, but it's a program where we can provide some financial assistance. We got a grant from the state to assist us in this, and we're real happy that Public Works has been doing their best to advertise this. I will tell you that if your house was built before 1960, the chances of you having a lead service is really high. It's not a guarantee, but it's really high that you have a lead service. So you want to pay attention to this. We want everybody to be safe, and Public Works is doing their best to get the word out.
Definitely, and you know, like you said, it's something that you do want to pay attention to. Not a lot of people realize that they even have a lead service. So if anything, this is a reminder for people to check that out and see what their options are, and this is a great opportunity to kind of make that a little bit more possible for people to do that financially. So we had a chance to chat with our Public Works Director, James Robbie, and he gave us a little bit more information on how this program works, what the background is, and how you can move forward and apply for this. So we're going to go ahead and let him finish answering the question for us today. Let's take a look.
The lead service line replacement program is a program to help residents replace lead water services on their private side. So, you know, from the house to the curb stop out in the terrace. We've been replacing the lead on the public side for 10, 12 years now, but the private side, most of them, unless the property owners have just wanted to do it, have not been replaced. So this change in the program will allow any property owner in the city to put in a request to be a part of the replacement program and get some funds reimbursed as a part of getting it replaced. The maximum reimbursement is 50% of the cost to replace the lead service on the private side, up to a maximum of $1,500. For property owners that are at or below 80% of the median income, we do offer an increased level of financial support, which is detailed in the policy, which will be able to be found on our website. The long-term goal really is to replace all the lead services on the private and the public side. As we know, lead is a contaminant that can hinder human health and development. Certainly with the events in Flint, Michigan of a couple of years ago, it's become a national prominence, and municipalities across the country are trying to make a push to remove all lead on the public and private side. And because of that, the City of Oshkosh was able to secure some principal forgiveness loan money, or a grant, if you will, from the Department of Natural Resources through the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. And it's that money that we're using to reimburse residents as a part of this program. The program, the policy, and all the paperwork necessary will be on the water utilities page of the city's website.
So some great information from our Department of Public Works Director, James Robbie. For more information, like it says, visit the website. There's a lot of great facts on there for people who might have questions, and just a really great opportunity. We're happy to see it. Yeah,
you just don't want to take that for granted. There's not an immediate health risk, but the long-term effects, if the lead started to break away from your service, then that could present a problem, and we want to avoid that. And before it does, we're going to make this grant loan forgiveness or principal forgiveness program available. But the idea is to help you, and if you're low income, we can help you a little more. So yes, just look for the details and hopefully participate in this program.
Definitely. So great question this week, and thanks again to James Robbie for helping us out with that. If you'd like to send a question to Mark, send it to us on Twitter at City of Oshkosh, post it to the Oshkosh Media Facebook wall, or you can email it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. Now, instead of taking a break, we're going to go right ahead into the City Council meeting agenda for February 13th, taking a look at some of the highlights that we can look forward to on the agenda here. So first item that we want to talk about, Mark, is a staff presentation, and this is on the Oshkosh Avenue traffic impact analysis. And this has been a hot topic in many meetings, so tell us a little bit of background on this analysis.
Well, everything has been moving very fast because Oshkosh Corporation, they have an aggressive schedule, and we want to plan the infrastructure, and part of this is, what do we want the Oshkosh Avenue corridor to look like? The first thing we wanted to make sure is, do we have enough capacity along Oshkosh Avenue to handle any increased traffic? Because right now the golf course had been getting its traffic through another area. This way it'll be coming directly from an extension of Westfield and an extension of Keller. So we hired a firm called KL Engineering out of Madison, and they've provided a number of options. These are just some of the examples, and the example you see here is kind of what I call the base model, 4-lane undivided road, which pretty much exists right now, but at the intersection at Westfield looking to have a turning lane. Right now, there's no turning lane. If you want to turn, you're in one of the 4 lanes, as you see in the above graphic. So the idea is to get a dedicated turning lane to keep traffic flowing along Oshkosh Avenue. And there are other options that we will talk about, but that's the base model that's in for the TIF district budget. So anything above that would cost extra, and the council will have to take a look at that. This is the same intersection, just shown from a different area. This is the overhead view of what Westfield might look like. This assumes, again, that those turning lanes over there on Oshkosh Avenue, and there was some question about, well, would we be recommending a roundabout or an intersection? And the engineers that we hired as the consultants are recommending that we do a normal intersection. And the primary reason for that, there's many reasons, but the primary reason is that we want to encourage pedestrian and bike traffic. And as we know from our experience, roundabouts, while they're very good from a traffic standpoint, they are not very friendly for bikes and pedestrians. So we want to encourage that. And so having a 4-way intersection seems to make the most sense. And so that's what is being recommended there. And then down the road, as we want to dream a little bit, is the redoing of the intersection at Sawyer and Oshkosh Avenue. As we know, with the intersection with Rainbow Park, it is a mess over there. And you can't get a lot of agreement on everything, but everybody agrees on this one thing, that intersection's a mess. And what we're hoping is that as development occurs along Oshkosh Avenue, that the tax increment that comes from that new development will help us fund this improvement. So this is an example of what's been considered. They did look at a roundabout, and that was about the worst roundabout design I've ever seen in my life. KL knew it, and they told us that it really wouldn't work. This jogs it a little bit because there's some little quirky things there, but the city is in the process of purchasing Reps Bar. We have an accepted offer, so we're anticipating that this will be able to take place. It'll be a regular 4-way intersection, but there's a little jog in it and everything. But the idea is that you won't have to be, jostling over to the right or to the left as you're crossing the bridge heading west on Oshkosh Avenue. And there'll be a turning lane for you to get into Rainbow Park. So anglers who want to use Rainbow Park, launch their boat, they don't have to cut through the neighborhood on Pinoqua. They'll go right into Sawyer Street, heading to the north, and right into the park. It'll be much less intrusive on the neighborhood. So those are the things that are going to be talked about in general, but the whole idea is any of those profiles that you just saw, depending on which one you choose, there's one that's very ambitious, has a boulevard in the middle with extra sidewalks, and there was even suggestions, well, do we want bike lanes? All of those have extra costs and implications, and we want to make sure that council understands all of those. We did have a great workshop on this. I believe it was January 30th. Encourage people to take a look at that. It's on the GovTV website, so you can look that up. But we're going to be summarizing kind of the implications from a financial standpoint so that council has that information in advance. The Traffic Review Advisory Board's taking it up on that very day the council meets, and then there'll be a public input session.
Yes, well, there will be a public input meeting on February 20th, and that will be at the Plan Commission meeting. So looking forward to more input from the community on what they want to see. Like you said, Mark, I think it's all in agreement that we agree that something needs to change here. And so we're looking for what people's opinions are of how that change is going to take place. And like you said, it's also important to note that anything extra that you're adding is going to cost more.
Right. I mean, the price tag's always a major issue, and while we have very high hopes for the success of the tax increment district, that's the funding source for it. So we want to make sure that it has enough funding to get that project done. Otherwise, we're going to have to set our sights a little lower. Now, I'm optimistic we can meet the goals that we set in the plan. Above that, it's a little risky, and maybe we need to just take a look at that and have a discussion about that. But those are the things we'll be talking about with the council, and the public can chime in at the neighborhood input meeting on February 20th.
And then once more, we highly encourage people to check out the workshop for even more background information and detail on what we just discussed here and what will be discussed on Tuesday the 13th. So moving on to our next highlight, Mark, we've got the amending of a resolution for special assessments, and that's for Oregon Street from Fox River to West 16th Ave. So give us a little bit of a rundown what exactly is getting done here. You know, it says here it's from the river to West 16th. What exactly is going to be happening there?
This is part of our program to redo the sewers from the Fox River all the way out to the south end of town, out near the Aviation Industrial Park and that area out there, Ripple Road. But we got to do it in chunks at a time. Even though we're doing the sewer, actually the sewer starts at 8th Avenue, but we've got to get a few things done over there on Oregon Street from the river to 8th. So we're going to be working on that. There was a workshop held several months back where the public said we don't want to really change the profile of what the intersections are going to look like. So those will change, those will remain the same, excuse me. But the real construction is going to be 8th to 16th. That's going to be pretty disruptive this year. We have to be honest about that. And so people can plan accordingly. There are special assessments involved. And businesses and residents pay that based on our policy, and this gets that process going. But anytime we do these initial resolutions for special assessments, that's the sign that construction season is right around the corner.
This is true.
Don't let the snow and ice and cold fool you. It's coming. So we bid these out earlier in the year, so we get contractors before they've committed to things, so we get better prices, which keeps costs down for you as a taxpayer, as well as for you as a property owner who may be paying the special assessments.
Excellent. So we look forward to even more discussion on that in detail at the meeting, and just be on the lookout for even more streets projects coming up here as we move forward in the season. Moving down, we've got the approval of an amendment to General Development Plan for an indoor storage facility and outdoor display. This has been a topic of conversation at Plan Commission, and at their most recent meeting, there was the recommendation to approve this. Tell us a little bit about this project and what the discussion was at Plan Commission.
Well, first off, this is a former Kmart site, so
yes.
Everybody's been looking for that, and there's been different opinions. Essentially, this is proposed to be a U-Haul facility, and there was going to be talk of displays and things like that. And the Plan Commission, you know, they're still thinking long term on this type of stuff, and they want to make sure that it doesn't become junky or anything. So these are the renderings that the developers came back with. I believe the Plan Commission put some more stringent landscaping restrictions on there to just basically green it up. We know how just open and wide open that is there, and just try to. I think when you put more landscaping in, you make the site look smaller, even though it's not smaller. I know there were some issues about paint, and I think the Plan Commission worked with the developers on those issues. But everybody knows what it looks like right now, and certainly we want it to look better than that. And this is, right along Highway 41. We want to make sure that people feel very comfortable that this is the right thing, even though we desperately want to get it redone. We want to make it look nice. So the Plan Commission, I believe, put 20 separate recommendations and conditions on that, and that's what they're going to be looking at as they go forward. So excited. Hopefully this all comes to fruition. We've had a couple false starts on this property, so hoping that can get done.
Yes, it is exciting to see something moving forward here on this site. So we'll be excited to hear what council has to say about that on Tuesday. Under new ordinances, Mark, we have the amending of Chapter 2 of the City Municipal Code to combine the Traffic Review and Advisory Board to the Parking Utility Commission into a single Traffic and Parking Advisory Board. This is a result of a project you were working very closely with the council. They had a workshop of it. Tell us a little bit about the outcome and why this is happening.
The council had looked at combining some boards and commissions to limit the number of them, and actually to make it easier to recruit for boards and commissions, because we have over 200 potential members of boards and commissions. So a lot of slots, and we want to make sure that we're a little more efficient with that. we took a look at the Traffic Review Advisory Board and the Parking Utility Commission and felt that they were compatible by bringing them together. They don't meet very often, and this would give them more purpose. So the people coming to the meetings would have more purpose. It doesn't mean that they're going to pay less attention. It's just that they're going to be able to focus a little better on these issues. And traffic and parking seem to be a good marriage, so that's the first step in this process.
Are you looking at any other boards or commissions to do something similar to this?
The only other one that seemed to be, that got some appeal with the council is a possible folding of the Grand Opera House Advisory Board into the Landmarks Commission. The Grand Opera House is managed by a private nonprofit, and they do a large part of the work that the Grand Opera House Advisory Board used to do. Now that we have a separate entity, they make a lot of the bigger decisions in accordance with our agreement. So it is a landmark, and we felt the Landmarks Commission was the right way to go.
Definitely. Next item right after that is under new resolutions, and this is the approval of the agreement for the archaeological data recovery plan for a portion of the Lakeshore Municipal Golf Course site. So this is something, a lot of people are actually talking about this on social media, and it's kind of a cool topic. So tell us what was found on this site.
Well, really, we're required to do this for a lot of our projects. You may recall last year we had a discussion about Bayshore. We actually found human remains there, and that was showing the possible burial site there. We haven't found anything that glamorous or elaborate, but it's certainly gotten people interested in the talk of, well, there used to be an Indian village there. And it's like, I assume that there is a Native American village or dwellings that were in that area, but probably was filled in over time as well. But looks like there's evidence of some things that were buried, such as fish bones and pottery and things like that. And we're required by law to make sure we document all those things and report it to the State Archaeological Society. So that's what we plan to do. But it's certainly got a lot of interest. I think, anytime you get something from history, that gets people interested.
Yeah.
There is a cool factor to it. And so we're going to do that and see where we go from there.
Very cool. And then finally, the last thing that we want to mention here under City Manager announcements is the February 20th, 2018 election. There are some polling site location changes. So Mark, maybe you can just walk us through what those changes are. These
are all schools. For security reasons, the school district and the city have decided that we want to move some of the polling places out of the school. So Traeger Elementary and Middle School is getting moved, and you can see it's getting moved over to
Living Water.
Excuse me. Yeah, Living Water Lutheran Church over there on Oakwood. Then similarly, Franklin is just moving a little bit to the east over to St. Jude the Apostle, right at the corner of 5th and Knapp. And then Washington School is getting moved over to Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church, right around the corner on Bowen. And then finally, the Jefferson School is moving over to First English Lutheran Church. Yes. Those are the districts, and there is a primary on February 20th. And if you want information about where you vote, even if you're not in one of those areas or you don't know where you vote, call the clerk's office or look at our website and get that information out there.
They are happy to help.
Happy to help. And don't forget, the primary, it's only State Supreme Court. That's February 20th, and then the general election, which will be the general election for the State Supreme Court, as well as Oshkosh Common Council and School Board will be that day. Excellent.
So we encourage everyone to get out there and vote, and thanks for the update on the changes and locations for the polling sites. So that's going to do it for this episode of City Manager's Report. We are just about out of time. So Mark, as always, thank you very much for joining us today.
Happy to do it.
Again, the Common Council meeting is this Tuesday, February 13th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our website at oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for mobile devices. Make sure you like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates. Or, of course, check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And as always, don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, send it to us on Twitter, post it on our Facebook page, or email it to us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. So as always, thank you so much again for joining us on City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.